Hello there, my name is SkymanUniverse. Welcome back to my channel. Now, last week, the Clone Wars released their Old Friends Not Forgotten episode, and my goodness, it was amazing. I loved every single moment of it. It's everything I wanted to see in a Clone Wars episode, and it exceeded all my expectations. This week, well, there's 3 more episodes left, and it's now coming near to the end, so I feel incredibly excited for one, but also that I want to kind of log my reaction to this episode, because I think at the moment that this episode, that I'm a little bit behind, but it's trending on Twitter, and also I've had people coming at me left, right and centre saying how amazing it is, and I'm just saying, keep away from me, don't tell me anything. I want to watch it and have a raw reaction and share it with you whilst I watch it. So I have no idea what to expect. I feel like now Order 66 is just on the cusp, and I'm really hoping. The fact that everyone's going so crazy about it makes me think that Order 66 might actually take place in this episode. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, I'm just hoping so much that it is, and how they go about doing it as well. It'd be very interesting to see how that interacts with Ahsoka and Darth Maul. With all the clones around them as well. That's going to be really cool. I'm very excited for this episode. Like, I know that just before this episode, that arc, we'll get onto this like at the end, but that arc with the Martez sisters, because this season's so small, I feel like it's one of those arc episodes where it doesn't really do anything for the story, doesn't add anything, and knowing what other stories we're meant to have in this final season, like with Cad Bane, and there's some other ones as well, which I'll mention later on, I feel like that could have potentially just been a bit of a waste. If this was extended a little bit, then maybe I wouldn't really care much at all about those arcs. But after last week's episode, after feeling a bit down with the Clone Wars, after the Martez sisters arc, and then last week's episode just brought me straight back into Clone Wars again, and it was just nostalgic, it was emotional, it just gave me the feels throughout. So I'm expecting the exact same thing. I wish I did a trailer reaction, not a trailer reaction, I wish I did like a reaction throughout for the last one, because I'm just sitting there and I was just feeling exhilarated with just such great Clone Wars feeling. It's just the same sort of prequel era feeling. So this point, there must be a duel with Darth Maul and Ahsoka, and I think this would be the point where because Ray Park went in, he choreographed some lightsaber fight. So I cannot wait to see that, if that's like the actual duel they have here, which it must be, because they literally just saw each other at the end of the last episode. So that, I really hope it's just going to be amazing. Maybe some references to like a new kind of Duel of the Fatesy kind of song that will make my fanboy go off the roof completely, and I'll be on another scale of excitement and happiness. But anything to do with Order 66, very excited about. Anything to do with Revenge of the Sith, it's just such a brilliant part in Star Wars for me. This is my favourite era, is the prequel era. I love it so much, and it's kind of really sad that it's gonna eventually go. And that story is kind of going to be told. I mean, what a ride it's been so far, like from season 1 to now 7. And I didn't really get into Clone Wars to begin with, but I mean, I'll get on all to this in a minute. You don't want to hear about all this yet. You're here for the reaction, as am I. So, after staying clear from everyone, I'm ready. I've got my tea here, and we can do this. Obviously, I caved in and got Disney Plus. It wasn't a hope in hell that I was missing the Clone Wars. And it's kind of been enjoyable watching all the Mandalorian again on the big screen as well. So that's been fun too. It has its uses during this quarantine time, which I hope that everything with you at the moment is good and you're able to enjoy this too. It's that point where you're just about to watch something in this moment, which I like to just take a step back quickly and reflect. I mean, this episode might be completely rubbish. I doubt it, but you know, I just feel extremely excited at the moment. It's that point just before not knowing anything, and in 25 minutes time or 20 minutes time, I would have been enlightened with a point in Star Wars which I wasn't originally. and one which I love so much. So I don't think they could go wrong with this episode, because it's just such a juicy, rich part of the Star Wars era. So, oh man, let's do it. Let's enjoy it and sit back, relax. Let's savor this Clone Wars moment together. I like these new creepy starts as well, like it's nearing the end. Last time we saw a red thing was like Return of the Jedi.
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.
But it looks good in this Phantom. Red to me indicates Darth Maul. The Phantom Apprentice. Phantom? Phantom Apprentice. Shout out to the Phantom Menace. So they're going with about 5 clone troopers. I take it he means Order 66. Man, this is giving me the chills. The music as well, just what I wanted, like a Duel of Fates type thing. That was quick. But it's anything with that sort of quiet thing in Star Wars, the music is just perfect, it gets me going. I'm trying to contain my excitement at the moment because it's crazy amounts inside. Good seeing Darth Maul.
We've lost them.
I think he's my favourite in the Clone Wars. His story has just been most interesting. I wonder what Obi-Wan's doing at the moment, because this is happening during Revenge of the Sith. I thought he was rescuing Dooku. So the Jedi know. Say his name, it's Palpatine. Is he gonna say it?
Darth Sidious is the Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord?
Because Count Dooku is dead. Anakin killed and sent to hunt down General Grievous on
Oh, this is right in Revenge of the Sith.
Maybe he can reinforce us.
I won't have any more clones of Ahsoka. Is this the last time we're going to see Obi-Wan?
I think it is. Anakin is on a special assignment.
What kind of assignment?
He's been instructed
Jedi
to
Master
observe
Kind.
Chancellor.
Why?
The Senate has allowed
I love that Sidious's themes in the background.
You best go.
This is going to be it for Obi-Wan. I really hope there's another scene with him. It just feels like Revenge of the Sith. It's crazy. It's that same feeling I had when I was about 14.
We got ambushed on our way. He took Jesse alive.
No, Jesse. I hope he's alright. I can't deal with him
Your time.
Oh, he's good.
I won't tell you anything. What plan? What are you talking about?
We know the plan. I don't know why I've never took to Gar Saxon in the Galaxy of Heroes game. Never upgraded them. Don't kill Jesse. Don't do it more. Prime Minister Olmec still in prison again. I know my past has been checkered.
Help him remember.
Ahsoka seems a bit fierce in this one. I love all these music cues in there. It's just sending shivers down the spine. Bo-Katan in relation to Carl Katan. So that's one good Jedi. Dryden Voss, nice touch.
What's going on?
I don't know what it is, but the helmet's just a bit different this time. Does it be what they're doing when Order 66 happens?
Want to be acting as a police force.
Maul's gonna be there.
The Republic forces will depart.
He's gonna jump him. He's gonna jump
Then
him.
you will have your
He's definitely...
I agree. There you go. Back up for your brothers.
I love Maul in this. This is like a new side of him we haven't seen before.
Sorry. Don't stay on my account. We'll be fine.
I love Maul in this one. This new attitude he's got. I feel like we're at the cusp of Order 66. Someone's gonna do it. Just go see one hologram and then that's it.
I am here to bring you to
Imagine if
justice.
they teamed up.
Justice is merely the construct of the current power base. A base which, according to my calculations, is about to change.
And Darth Sidious is behind
That's
it?
so true as well.
But together, you and I can.
Is this gonna happen?
Every
Please let it
choice
happen.
you have made has led you to this.
Oh my god. Do it. Do it.
Do it.
It's not gonna. It can't obviously happen, but imagine if it happens. Was it the vistas or cinematography of this? Is the visuals are so nice. Like so atmospheric.
I will help you.
No freaking.
But you must answer one question.
I've been cities of his prized pupil.
Darth Maul versus Anakin.
I
Imagine.
know, Anakin.
I see the Padawan needs one last lesson.
I've been waiting a long time for this. Man, this is freaking awesome. This is, you could see Ray Parkin is fighting as well. Well, this has a proper Phantom Menace. It just looks so realistic, man. It's just so good. I know I probably shouldn't, but I really want Darth Maul to win. Which is bad. That's it, take her outside to the clones. She's gonna be with the clones. If she with the clones, that order's gonna. Oh, not with Rex. Not with Rex. If I see Rex point the gun, it's so good, man. This is gonna be so emotional. I'm looking for one hologram.
I need backup. Our forces are falling. We need your support.
No, I think not. Any moment my ship will be arriving. Die well, Mandalorian.
No, wait!
You are difficult to kill.
It doesn't seem like Ahsoka in this, almost. The lightsaber jaws look so real. I just compare it to what.
Destroyed Sidious.
Only for you to take his place.
We'll drop her down to the clones. At this point, I'm just voting for Maul. I don't know why, but I feel it. I just want him to win at something. Oh dear. Commander Rex, the time has come. Oh,
You're all going to burn. We're all going to die. You don't know what you're doing.
bloody hell. That's kind of creepy. Oh man. I thought that was Vader's theme just there as well. Man, this is crazy. I thought Order 66 was going to happen, but oh man, well, that was quite intense. A very intense episode, and I think I was getting ahead of myself, thinking that Order 66 was going to happen straight away, but I kind of liked that it was prolonged. However, I would have liked to see Order 66 happen, and then you could kind of see more of the aftermath, because you don't really see much of that transition after it. So that would have been really cool to see. At that point, I thought that the clones were going to defeat Maul's forces and the Mandalorian forces, and then they were going to completely outnumber them and the good Mandalorian forces as well. And then Order 66 would take place during that time whilst Ahsoka's there. For some reason I thought Maul would, because he knows about the chips in the clones' heads, he might somehow remove Rex's or something, and he would do one act of good for Ahsoka or something like that, and then he just goes off, and then you see him again in Rebels. But so it makes me think, what the hell is going to happen with Rex because his chip comes out, he survives. So how is he going to get over Order 66? Because he's still going to try and do it. And are they going to associate Ahsoka with a Jedi, because she's no longer a Jedi, she's a commander, which is obviously what they call a Jedi, but whether the clones differentiate if she is or not, I'm pretty sure they probably would try to kill her anyway. But it's going to be sad, like everything, the whole feel of that episode, it just felt like Revenge of the Sith. Like, you know it's gonna go wrong, you know something bad's gonna happen. That's when I remember feeling the exact same thing when I was in the cinema for when I was 14 watching Revenge of the Sith. Like, you know where the story's going. It's gonna end tearfully and badly for everyone. It's gonna be the rise of Darth Vader. So the fact that they were referencing Anakin, Sidious's plan, like Maul had worked it all out. He felt sorry for Dooku as well. I mean, I love that they've gone about doing that and including that cleverly in this, so it doesn't really affect the grand scheme of things in the Revenge of the Sith, but we see another side of Order 66 or Sidious's plan. So that's kind of really cool, and a very cool episode. It's made for a very cool and exciting episode. I thought there was going to be I don't know, some absolute shocking wow moment. I don't know what it was. I thought that would be like the Order 66 thing. But I can't complain whatsoever, because everything in that episode, with the story, the references, and Darth Maul as well, like they add more layers to Darth Maul. Even though he keeps coming back, there's another layer which is added to him. It's not so much the despair, given up type thing. It's sort of hunker down, bunker down, and sort of ride it out until the transition happens, and then start plotting again and move on from there. So to see how he sort of works, he's not like incredibly angry, he's not really calculating, but this time he's more sort of level-headed in his mind, but then at the end he just completely gives up. So it was kind of, it was different. I thought he was just going to get in this ship, and all he needed to do was go whoosh on that. That's why I thought he jumped over Ahsoka, and then just so he can chop the other side off, and Ahsoka falls, and then she falls like right in the middle of the clones, and then she's caught off guard without her lightsabers. Then Order 66 happened, and I had all this going through my head. I was like, no, this is going to be so sad if that happens, but it went a completely different way, so that's kind of cool. But this is awesome. Like, I love where they're going with these episodes so much, and it makes me sad again, because I wish it continues. Like, I would love to see directly after the fact, like, I would worry if they did Clone Wars after Revenge of the Sith, because Anakin is then Darth Vader, so you don't get that sort of layer of Anakin that we have had in the Clone Wars, but then it's now Darth Vader. But this episode shows that they don't need to be the absolute focus. I think they could get away with that with constant references to them. It's kept me excited, it wants to know what's going on, and also it makes me interested to see how Sidious's plan comes into fruition more after Order 66 happens. Like, sure, we just see the clones shoot the Jedi and capture the planets that are basting against the droids, but it would be really cool to see what Sidious actually does then, like how he sort of presents himself in the Senate, and how the people were like, what the hell, like, you planned this all along. So because he's Sidious and the Emperor now, he now does whatever he wants, where he'd act like democratic in the Senate, now he'd act like the Emperor. So you could see how suppressed everyone would become, like, all of a sudden, and how the Sith do things, as opposed to how they've always been in the sidelines, and the Jedi have always sort of helped democracy be prosperous in Coruscant and the Republic. So to see the Sith point of view and how they do it, and see how Vader actually goes about, and he sort of gets over what's come before, he lets go of all of that, and then he goes from planet to planet, just wiping out people and making the Empire this magnificent force which it eventually becomes. That would be awesome. I'd love to see more episodes of that. The only sad thing with this for me at the moment is just a couple of things. I really wanted to see Count Dooku again. I don't know why. The voice actor who does Count Dooku is iconic, and I really love the character and how much he was developed in the Clone Wars, so that would have been really cool to have more of the Count. So the fact that this just sort of skipped straight to this sort of Revenge of the Sith moment, and now Dooku's dead, that was kind of upsetting, because I was hoping there might be something more revelations for Count. And the comic, the Darth Maul comic, Son of Dathomir, where I think some YouTubers actually sort of turned it into a voice thing, where they've done some voice acting and sound effects and everything, and tries to make it seem as Clone Wars like as possible. It's really awesome. You should try and check it out on YouTube. But I would have really loved to have seen the Son of Dathomir arc in this season. That would be really awesome, because then we would have got more of Count Dooku and what was going on there. That would have been completely great. Cad Bane and the Bounty Hunter episodes, that could have fit so nicely in there as well. And also there was a reference with, this might contradict with Rogue One's story with the Death Star and how it was built, but it was the crystals, and there was like one massive Kyber crystal, green one, which Obi-Wan and I think Anakin go after, and maybe Mace Windu, I'm not sure. So that didn't make the cut either. But those stories would have fit really nicely as well into this season. So if they were in there as well, then I don't think I would have really been so disappointed with the Martez sisters arc. I think after that, I would have thought, well, you know, Clone Wars was always notoriously had some of those episodes which are just kind of like filler episodes. You're like, okay. And one, maybe there's just an extra episode on there which didn't really need to go on for like another episode. So you think, all right, let's get that week done and over with so we get back onto the good stuff. This one I got upset with because I feel like it was added, just more of a, perhaps a political thing, I don't know. But it's sort of added when it doesn't need to be there, when there's so many other integral things happening. At this time, I feel like that was a very bad and poor choice to add it during this moment in time when you could add so many fruitful and delicious Star Wars stories and characters as it leads up to Revenge of the Sith. That would have been awesome to see some cooler things in there, as opposed to these girls getting trapped, going into prison, coming out, getting trapped again, and then defeated, going back into prison. It was just kept going around in circles, and by the end of those episodes, I was just like, come on, like, is this thing going to end? And then it sort of leads on to another episode, and I was like, oh no, I need more. I need Order 66. I need to see more Anakin and Obi-Wan. There isn't much time left, you know. So I really hope that we get to see Palpatine and Sidious in these last episodes as well. The fact that Maul's been captured here, is he going to actually be taken to the Jedi Temple at this point? Like, what is going to happen to him now? And is he going to reveal the great plan, or is it going to be too late and he keeps his mouth shut, and then obviously it leads to the Jedi's demise? I would absolutely love so much. This would be the icing on the cake for the Clone Wars for me, if they include Anakin inside. They're not going to do it. There's no chance or hope in how they're going to do it, unless they pull Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One type scene, which then I'll be very impressed with Disney. But if we see Anakin Skywalker actually marching with the clones, attacking the clones, and attacking the Jedi, and destroying the temple, because that was a scene in Revenge of the Sith. Like, it doesn't need to be done in a gruesome way. Like the shot where he's in with the younglings and switched on his lightsaber, that's enough. When he's attacking the other Jedi, though, I feel like you can kind of get away with that. So if he slashes, you don't actually see it. He pushed someone off the balcony or something, or clones shooting people. It doesn't need to be graphic. There can be really clever ways to do it. But to actually be inside the temple and kind of seeing the panic and the absolute betrayal, that would just heighten the whole thing just off the roof. For me anyway, and it would be like a real sort of tearjerker thing. But yeah, I'm very excited about this, where this is finally heading and going. And I'm happy that, I remember when the first Clone Wars first came out, how many years ago? It was like 10 years ago, maybe even more. Maybe 12 or 11, I'm not sure. But I remember when I never really gave it a shot, and it took me a little while to get into it. But after the second season came out, I sort of jumped into the third season, and then I got hooked on it. And I've been loving and following it ever since. And it's been a brilliant way to make the prequels even better. And it's expanding on the universe of what the Star Wars universe is and what it can do and how exciting it can be. So the Clone Wars has really sort of paid tribute to George Lucas's legacy in that respect, and continues to do so with that episode there as well. But yeah, that's how I feel about this episode. It was freaking awesome, and I'm gonna really miss Clone Wars as well. Yeah, so until next week, my name's SkymanUniverse. Take care of yourself, and remember, the Force will be with you always.